Whoever has experienced the power and the unrestrained ability to humiliate another human being automatically loses his own sensation. Tyranny is a habit. It has its own organic life. It develops finally into a disease. The habit can kill and coarsen the very best man or woman to the level of a beast. Blood and power intoxicate. The return of human dignity, repentance, and regeneration becomes almost impossible. These are the words of the great Russian novelist Dostoevsky, written in 1862 in his semi autobiographical novel, The House of the Dead. In The House of the Dead, Dostoevsky recounts his 4 years as a prisoner in a Siberian prison camp. Dostoevsky's only crime was being out of favor with the emperor, someone who was considered an outsider. I want to take us back to the first sentence or so of what Dostoevsky wrote. He says the unrestrained ability to humiliate another human being automatically causes the person doing the humiliating to lose their sensation. Sadly, I believe we're at that point in the United States. I want to bring our attention to the news of 3 deaths from the last month. Daphy Michel, a Haitian asylum seeker who was found dead at a Pittsburgh bus stop last week after being dropped off miles away by ICE agents without any way to get home. In the cold, she was dropped off at a bus stop. Or how about the previous week with Nurul Amin Shah Alam, a blind refugee trying to escape persecution in Burma, dropped off in front of a closed coffee shop in the middle of the night in Buffalo, New York. And this weekend, we learned the death of Mohammad Nazear Paktywal, an Afghan refugee who fought alongside U.S. Special Forces in Afghanistan, trying to maintain freedom for his own people against the Taliban, forced to seek safety in this country after the Taliban was allowed to return to power. He was found dead within 24 hours of being arrested and held in an ICE detention facility in Texas. You might think that all of these are unrelated, that it might just be happenstance that these 3 people were found dead after being taken into custody by ICE. It could be considered a glitch in the system, but unfortunately, it's not a glitch in the system. It's a feature of our system. In the last fiscal year alone, approximately 24 people died while in the custody of ICE. This is more than a glitch in the system, it's a feature in the system. People who we've taken our government, and I'm going to say we, because we all bear some responsibility for this, whether you voted for this administration or not. It's our government, and we bear some accountability for the actions taken in our name as citizens of the United States. And the actions taken in our name are cruel. We have an Eighth Amendment to our Constitution, which says that you should not face cruel and unusual punishment. And contrary to what some folks in this administration and some folks who support this administration think, constitutional rights as enumerated in the Bill of Rights, the first 10 amendments, aren't just for citizens. Those enumerations are meant to protect anyone who sets their foot on the soil of the United States of America. They're intended to protect all of us. We're now at a place where those rights are ignored, not just for those who are not citizens, but for those of us who are United States citizens ourselves. I want to go back to Dostoevsky for a second. He then says that tyranny becomes a habit. It has its own organic life. It develops into a disease. My concern when I look at the deaths of those in ICE custody, or the deaths of those people who lost their lives due to the actions of ICE out in the streets, either because ICE acted recklessly in a car accident or because ICE acted murderously in the killing of U.S. citizens exercising their First Amendment rights. The more we see this, the more we allow ourselves to become accustomed to these habits of cruelty. We run the risk of accepting them as the norm, and we can never allow ourselves to normalize these activities. We can never allow ourselves to become numb to the cruelty that we see that's being inflicted upon U.S. citizens, that's being inflicted upon those who are immigrants, upon migrants, inflicted upon those people looking for a better life. Because Dostoevsky says that when we start to normalize these habits, that they can darken our soul, that they can coarsen our hearts, make us immune to the hardships and suffering of other people. And for those of us who call ourselves Christians, this is a problem because we say that we believe the words of the Bible to be true. So, do we believe it's true when it says that we're all created in the image and likeness of God? Do we believe it to be true when Jesus says, love your neighbor as you love yourself? In fact, he goes back and says the greatest commandment is to love the Lord your God with all your heart. In the Hebrew Bible, it's called the Shema. He then goes on to say, love your neighbor as you love yourself. Millennia of church teachings have taught us that our neighbor is not confined to those who we like, those who look like us, those who think like us, those who live in a way that we're comfortable with. Our neighbor is all of us. Our neighbor is each and every one of us. And so when we condone these actions of ICE, when we continue to say that we need to control our border, and from a policy position, we need to control our borders. We need to be aware of who's here. But two things can be true at the same time. We can also reject cruelty. We can also reject actions by our government that place people out in the street in the middle of the night without telling their loved ones what has happened to them. We can also reject the fact that folks are dying regularly, weekly in ICE custody. Because if we ignore it, if we act like it's nothing wrong, we allow blood and power to intoxicate us, as Dostoevsky said. And once we allow blood and power to intoxicate us, it's a nearly impossible task for us to return to human dignity. In fact, he says repentance and regeneration become almost impossible once we have allowed our souls to be darkened. Those of us who are people of faith, we have an obligation, we have a duty, we have a calling to stand against this unrestrained humiliation of others simply because they are different. Thanks for listening. Please don't forget to like, share, subscribe to the Faithful Witness with Terrence Carroll podcast, either right here on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple. And remember, to tell the truth, seek justice, and love the people. This is Faithful Witness.